As far as coaching points, so basically, in this one, the activity objective is deny a chance. The number of players is four.
Coaches, if you don't mind, that would.
Deny a chance. It's 4 to 12 players with a goalkeeper involved as well. The ways of scoring, so this is a two-part for us. Part one in the first 5 minutes, it's a total of 12 minutes. Repetition could be up to 6 or even more. Activity and recovery, the activity itself is 5 minutes. The rest of the time is 1 minute. In this situation, ways of scoring, on part one is when you're 1v1, and actually it goes for both, 1v1, 2v2s. By scoring, you get to move to attacking side. If you lose, you remain as a defender. So this forces the players to continue to, basically, the focus is defense, 100%. And to reward the players at kids at this age, they just want to score. So they're gonna be, oh, you're going it out?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, the rules, be your 1v1 or your 2v2, sorry, and score. Your reward is becoming the attacker. If the ball goes out of bounds, reset back to your original starting side. No matter what, you don't get to go to attack, you just stay where you are, you go back. The constraints for part one, both defense and attack remain in your channels. So there's gonna be a board in the middle, which creates two different channels. There's one channel, you focus on that. It's not gonna go both at the same time. The ball starts with the coach. The ball starts with the coach, and the coach is gonna send it over out to the attacking side no matter what. And from there, on part two, as far as for constraints and restraints, for part one, both defense and attack remain in your channels. So wherever the ball goes, the coach sends the ball here, you need to attack on this channel. Sends it here, you need to attack on this channel. Now, as far as part two, that's where we remove the border. There's no restraints, free to jump on any channel in order to support. That creates a 2v2 situation. Rotations, when you're 1v1, 2v2, become the attacker.
So show me the defense of how you teaching the defense, or how you teaching the player action.
As far as the player action goes, pressing, blocking the shot, cover below. So for 1v1, close the space. Jockey and apply pressure to force them out. That's what the focus on the defense on this. And the 2v2s, once we switch it to the 2v2s, when we move the border in the middle, pressure and cover below your teammate, not above, in order to force a mistake.
Show the movement.
So if this player steps to get the ball, then this player needs to come here and cover. Now, he needs to also be careful that he's not going too far and leave his player open.
Okay.
So without the line, initially we had the line, but we learned that maybe it's not a great idea. Then he needs to make sure that he's covering it enough, but then he's also being able to step if the ball is passed to the other player.
Which one is more important, covering or balance in this situation?
Coaches, let's help coach out. Which one do you think is more important?
I think there is a sequence to that is set in that way for a reason, which is if you have no cover, then how can you have balance, right?
That's why when he says cover below, not above, in order to keep, basically, if they force that transition to the other side, you have cover below. In order to keep that, I call it staggering over one another.
And also, if you're in a 2v2 situation, I guess you bring up your point, the person who's scoring also has to provide balance.
That's a very good point. Thank you.
To answer your question is, cover comes before balance.
Okay, so we're the both technically.
Basically, because if he doesn't provide cover to there, he might say, oh, I'm balancing here, but there's no coverage. That means that, once again, if that player is a skillful player, he's gonna beat him and go straight to goal.
You have to pick your battle where the both.
That's right. So this also goes back now. They're doing a 2v2, right? And they're focusing on two principles: pressure and cover.
Yeah.
Pressure and cover, and that's where I was going. Where Devin was sharing is like they had the high numbers, but they weren't giving the principles that they needed to use with all those numbers, because each player needed a principle. The pressure, the cover, the balance, and the compact, you have a 4v4, but you only share two. That means that it left me asking, okay, what do the other two do? But you already had it in your diagram that you were doing them, you just hadn't shared them, which that's where I was getting to in regards to this.
Now, back to this one, on the 2v1, one of the biggest things you wanna create is to isolate that 1v1 situation no matter what. That's one of the things that, when you start from the beginning, is to force them to the outside, obviously, isolate that player. One of the freezing moments that I see happening in my head, as well as his, is that the 2v1 will be likely focused on one channel. I know there's no split no more, but there's invisible channels no matter what, wherever the players are. So if the focus is on this side, that's gonna allow, the goal is to isolate. I'm not gonna give any coaching points when it comes to the attacking team. It's defense, defense, defense. Isolate that player to force them out. That's gonna create this player to create a 2v1 on this side. Once you recover that ball, then this player is free to progress forward.
What age is this?
This is for U8, and actually, I believe it can be used for plenty of ages, not just U8.
Devil's advocate again.
Well, there's.
No keeper.
Oh, sorry, there is a keeper, there's a keeper.
Oh,
There's a
oh,
keeper. There's a
Damn
keeper.
it.
Yeah, it's, I call it 2+2, 2v2 plus goalkeeper.
Okay, right now, because I was about to say, if there's no keeper, that player, even if the defender is great, a ball can just slip by and it defeats the whole purpose, right? They're gonna be like, man, we did great, but we still got scored on.
I call this,
Morale goes away, right?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Now, let me ask you, this is a 30 by 20, right?
yes,
What is the likelihood of this player shifting on 10 yards and then shifting again to get here and covering the shot?
That's where I think I think coach brings a good point, is that the player, because it's a 2 versus 2, he needs to provide cover but also balance. So like, depending on what kind of player, like you said, if he is a good player, then he needs to cover more, you know what I mean?
So, but who has what I'm trying to get to is, where is your coaching gonna have to make sure that that player, the primary defender, understands?
Well, you wanna, in that situation, you wanna probably, because it's 2 versus 2 again, take them to the sideline.
So which means that the primary defender needs to do what?
Did you talk about why in one-on-one your body shape?
I did mention that in the beginning, as far as I think I raised it.
You push him to the side.
Yeah, push him to the side, yeah, I did.
Creating a 2v2.
Yeah, 2v1, yes.
Fair enough. I didn't hear it, that's what I was asking. So that's what I was saying, he needs to guide to the outside, because the minute that player gives the inside, the likelihood of them defending that that secondary defender is very low.
So as far as the coaching points come in the beginning of the session, that's where my first coaching point is gonna be. Where you tell the 1v1, close the space, make sure your body position jockey's good, and apply pressure to force them to the outside. Not to the center, to the outside. Now, my second coaching point will come in for both of us, would be after the break. That would be my second coaching point. What was it, the coaching point we called it again?
So there's 2 natural moments.
There you go, 2 natural movements, that's it.
One in the beginning, when you're introducing everything, that's when we're gonna talk about
Yes.
your body shape before the one-on-one, and then one in between when you take your legs off, then you have another natural stopping moment. But then you're gonna have a freeze
And that's the likelihood when it creates that 2v1.
to correct, sorry, I mean,
No, no,
you keep saying 2v1,
Sorry,
but I
sorry,
just don't
sorry.
necessarily agree with that terminology right now. I think it's a 2 versus 2,
Yes.
and what you're trying to create is cover.
Is it a 2 versus 2?
Yes,
No, it's not.
well, 3 versus 2.
No, exactly, yeah.
Two versus three.
Exactly.
But what I mean,
Exactly.
yeah,
I
in the
agree with that.
defense, defensively, I just don't want it to get confused
Yes.
that we're trying to create a 2 versus 1 defensively. Like, with that, the draft drill is not for that right now. I think we're
Wait,
trying.
say that again, you're not trying to create a 2 versus 1?
No,
Why not?
because if you do, you're gonna get killed.
How so?
Because this player will, if this guy covers too much or moves to this side too two
Sorry.
goals to create a real two
I see
versus
what he
one.
sees, I see what
He's
sees.
gonna pass it here and then it goes to goal.
I see what you're saying. He's saying these two versus one, where I'm seeing these two versus one isolating on the
Right,
side.
so I guess what I'm saying is we took the line off,
Yes.
so we can no longer do like, because there's no two versus ones, you know what I'm saying? Like if he comes here, needs to get closer. If he gets wider, he can't go and cover too much, he has to stay with this player while providing as much coverage as he can. So that's why I feel like there's no two versus
Well,
one.
it's different perspective,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
At the
yeah.
end
That's
of the
not
day, if
okay.
the primary defender doesn't do his job, he's
Yeah.
gotta be 2v1 no matter what you
Absolutely.
want.
Absolutely.
Because one player's gonna get beat,
Yeah.
needs one player left.
How do you, in the diagram, what do you expect to see when we go from two v two with the line?
So
versus
then-
without the line?
If
I'm
I-
asking- I'm asking.
Oh, I was saying, if I have one.
What would you see, what would you expect to see in that situation?
Well, they have variations here. Here's what you gotta understand. When it comes to the training session, US, if you're asking US what they're looking
Yeah,
for,
yeah.
is that you understand how you're teaching the player actions and how your coaching points are coming out.
Gotcha,
Makes
so,
sense.
so if you're
Because-
emphasizing cover, but your cover is really coming in after the second line, after the line is gone.
So what I was gonna
Yeah.
say, if I had more time, I would have done two diagrams. One saying
So then it would have
part
been
one.
part one, or would have been activity one?
No, activity one,
variation.
part one.
Activity two,
No.
it's the variation,
Sorry, I just wanna make sure
yeah,
it's activity one, part one, and you do the diagram with the cones.
okay.
And then next to it, you do part two if you can in the same space.
I
without the
see,
cones.
so it's still the same activity,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
diagrammed differently.
It's because-
Is that how, what would be expected?
In regards to of how they're trying to do it,
Yeah.
remember, there are many ways of dissecting, of creating an activity. It's how you see it. What US's focus is that the player actions and your coaching points are connecting the dots. They're saying that the first part,
Yeah.
they're teaching the principles in the one-on-one area, the
Yeah.
pressure and the guidance.
Yeah.
The second part, they're teaching the coverage.
Yeah.
Because that's where the
That's-
secondary
so-
comes in.
Yes,
And then that's how they're doing it. Now, if they would have told me that they're teaching in the first part coverage, I would have said where?
yeah, okay.
Kind of like what I shared with you guys, right? Because they got that line restriction. But because they're dissecting, it'd be like, okay, they're taking each part, they're teaching one principle,
Yeah,
and then they're combining it together.
No,
as
if I
a
may-
stepped approach.
Yes.
Right.
And then you draw it, so that if for hours, for example, would one way would have been an ideal.
Here's
to do that.
here's
I mean,
one, here's one way to help you visualize the way that I was taught, is you gotta see it like this. Your session has to start like this. And then it goes like this. And then it finalizes like this. That's where this happens. It doesn't mean that this is a particular area of the field, but that's how I've always visualized all my sessions in my
So
head.
that he's talking about the build-out method.
Yes.
In
Right.
regards to you go from something small and then you progress
Progress.
and so forth. That's the
Bottom
build-out
up versus
method.
top down.
Then there is the top down, the breakdown, which means you start with your full size and then you condense until you get to the smaller end. That one is a little bit harder to implement.
Yeah.
It's a
So
little
the
bit
way
harder
that
to
you
implement.
just drew that out, you're thinking about that, are you thinking of the smaller one as activity one?
That's, for this one was,
Well, the way you just diagrammed that, is the small one like?
No, he's asking you in your.
oh, for me
in your training
personally,
session.
in my training session, this is the non-game form,
Okay,
and then
great.
this is the modified game form
Yeah,
activity,
yeah, okay.
and this is the.
So-
Great, thank you. Yes.
But let me add to that.
But you did right there. is-
Because, can I explain why? It's because if I had a full session, I
Yes.
would have probably taken 12, 15 minutes on a one-on-one
Yes.
and added more coaching points.
Yes, absolutely.
Defending one-on-one
Okay,
better.
we're just
And
starting
then
that
on
out.
activity two, I would have done the 2 versus 2.
Yes.
What activity is this?
This is the
This should be, this is.
the modified game form activity.
This should be, for us.
Yes, that's the style of the activity, but what number activity?
At
One,
two.
two.
Two, but the reason, the reason I added that, I divided it into 2 parts is that I feel like it's very hard to coach cover and pressure without teaching the kids.
Like I said, how you dice it and slice it is
Yeah.
the coach's ability and creativity.
That's helpful, yeah.
What you wanna make sure is that the player actions connect
Yeah.
And you're actually, what you wrote down is translated to what we're actually looking at, make sense? If those two don't connect, then that's where I come in and be like, I'm missing a point here, I'm missing where the connection comes in, because that's what the players are gonna be
Right.
thinking of, right? Wait, coach, you told us this, but when we're doing it, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So
Yes.
that's why it's crucial that your training session reflects the actions that are gonna be executed. If they don't, then there's a question that comes about, right? What aren't we seeing?
Right.
All right, good job, well
Thank
done.
you.
And then, we passed the time, so we'll go, and then what we'll do is,